The male germ cells are nothing but called as the spermatogonia. The Leydig cells, the main function of them is to synthesize and secrete the hormone. Prostate glands and the bulbourethral glands, they actually secrete certain hormones, whereas the rest of them, they form the parts of the testes. Testes, they are held inside small sac-like or bag-like structures, and that bag-like structures are called as scrotum. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this session on concept class for class 12th biology. I'm Dr. Divya, biology faculty. So in this session, which is the beginning of this chapter, we'll learn about human reproduction, wherein in this session we'll learn about the male reproductive structure and its functions. So talking about the human male reproductive system. So we all know that we human beings, we reproduce by fertilization, wherein the male gamete will fuse with the female gamete, that is the sperm fuses with the egg or the ova to produce the fetus, that is the zygote develops into the embryo forms the fetus, and it's a very lengthy process for wherein the fetus will get formed with various stages and all that. Now, the male reproductive structure is different and the female reproductive structure is different. So, these two structures in separate we'll study in this chapter, and how exactly the fertilization process will occur is what we will study under this particular chapter. So, for today's class, wherein we'll learn about the human male reproductive system. The human male reproductive system consists of various parts which are divided as the primary sex organs, the secondary or accessory sex organs, and the external genitalia. So talking about the primary sex organs, here on the primary sex organs, a pair of testes. So testes, they are 2 in number. So that forms the primary sex organ because it is in the testes wherein the sperms are being produced. So therefore they form the primary sex organ. Next, talking about the secondary or accessory. Accessory means that supports something. These are the organs which supports the production of the sperm in the testis. So therefore we call it as the secondary or the accessory sex organs. In that there is the rete testis, the vasa efferentia, the epididymis, the vas deferens, the seminal vesicle, the prostate glands, and the bulbourethral glands. So the prostate glands and the bulbourethral glands, they actually secrete certain hormones, whereas the rest of them, they form the parts of the testis. So we had studied about the vas. So the accessory organs are starting from the rete testis. So this is the rete testis which is present inside the testis, and next we have the vas efferentia, vasa efferentia. So vasa efferentia are the ligament-like or membrane-like structures which forms the connectivity between the rete testis with that of the epididymis. Next comes the epididymis. And then after the epididymis, there is a tube-like structure which connects the epididymis, forms a continuity, a tube-like structure which is called as the vas deferens, which directly connects the testis to the penis. Then comes the seminal vesicle. So seminal vesicles are present in the test. Seminal vesicles. So after the seminal vesicle, there is the prostate gland that is there. This is the prostate gland. Then comes the bulbourethral gland, and then we have the urethra. So urethra, ureter, whatever, urinary bladder, all that are the parts of the excretory system. So that you have studied in your first PUC. Now we must mainly concentrate on all these labels which I have marked here, and then you can also see the testicular lobules that are there, then the testis, then the foreskin, the glans penis. About all this we'll study later. So these are the male accessory sex organs or the secondary sex organs. Next comes the external genitalia. External genitalia is nothing but the penis. So the penis forms the external genitalia because it is present outside the body. Therefore, it is external, and it is the one that actually delivers the sperm into the female reproductive tract. So therefore, it is the external genitalia, which is nothing but the penis. Next, moving further, let's study about each of these organ separately. So talking about the primary sex organ, which is nothing but the testes. So testes, they are held inside small sac-like or bag-like structures, and that bag-like structures are called as scrotum. And the scrotum is found hanging outside the abdominal cavity, wherein inside the scrotum, so this is the sac-like structure which you can see, and this entire testis that is there is covered by the sac-like structure which is called as scrotum. And you can see the scrotum, it forms a continuity with the abdomen and it hangs out of the abdomen. That is it. Outside the abdominal cavity it is present, and the main function of the scrotum is to maintain the temperature of the testis, because the semen, they get disintegrated, or the semen can become infertile if the temperature exceeds the normal body temperature, or a certain temperature should be there for the sperms to be active. So that active temperature is maintained by the scrotum, and the temperature is always just 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade more than a body temperature. Say for example, a body temperature is somewhere 37 degrees centigrade. So the testis, that is the scrotum's temperature, the testis temperature should be somewhere 38 or 39, like that. It should be 2 to 2.5 degree extra, more than that. Like how we wear sweaters in winter, no? Same way, this acts like a sweater for the testis, so that the testis temperature will be 2 to 2.5 degrees centigrade more than a body temperature. Therefore, the sperms will remain active. Otherwise, the sperms can become inactive. So that is about the testis. Now, what is there? So, outer portion of the testis. So, outside the testis, we got to know that it is covered by a sac-like structure which is called as scrotum, and also we learned its function. Now, inside the testis, what is the components present inside the testis? So, inside the testis, it contains 250 compartments, small lobule-like structures. So, lobules are nothing but these. How many of these lobules are there? 250. 250 lobules you can find, and these 250 compartments, they contain highly coiled structures called as seminiferous tubules. Can you see this? This is one lobule. All these are compartments or lobules that are present inside the testis. Now, inside the lobule, you can see these coil-like structures, if you can observe, right? So, these coil-like structures are nothing but called as seminiferous tubules, and they are highly coiled. Okay, so where are they present? Inside the testicular lobules. Now, what did we understand? The testis is covered by a sac-like structure called scrotum. Now, inside the testis, if you look at, there are n number of compartments, that is about 250 compartments or lobular structures. Inside this 250 compartments, or inside these 250 testicular lobules, inside each of these are present highly coiled structures called as seminiferous tubules. Now, we need to study what is there inside the seminiferous tubule. Now, each of these seminiferous tubules, that is, where are the seminiferous tubules present? Inside the testicular lobules. Now, those seminiferous tubules, that is these coil-like structures, no, that is what we are seeing here, these coil-like structures. Okay, so in these seminiferous tubules, it is lined by two types of cells called as the male germ cells. The male germ cells are nothing but called as the spermatogonia and Sertoli cells. So, what is there inside the seminiferous tubules? Male germ cells, which are called as spermatogonia. So, can you see these? Can you see these small round structures that are there? All these round structures, can you see here? These round structures inside each of these, all of these round structures, they are nothing but spermatogonia. What are these? Nothing but also called as the male germ cells. Don't get confused. They are nothing but the male germ cells, also called as spermatogonia. Now, and apart from having spermatogonia, they also have some cells called as Sertoli cells. So, these are the, inside these round structures, you can see small black round structures. These, they are nothing but called as the Sertoli cells. Now, outside the seminiferous tubule, so inside the seminiferous tubule, we got to know that spermatogonia is there and Sertoli cells is there. Now, outside, in these regions, if you can see, no, outside, what is there? They have some interstitial cells or Leydig cells. So, what are they called? Interstitial cells, or one more name for that is Leydig cells. Where are they present? These portions. Can you see this a little bit darker pink ones which are present outside the spermatogonia? That is the region outside to the seminiferous tubules. This one. So these are the seminiferous tubules. So region outside to the seminiferous tubule, we call it as the Leydig cells. And the Leydig cells, the main function of them is to synthesize and secrete the hormone androgens. Androgens is a very important hormone for the male reproductive system. So androgen is secreted by the Leydig cells, which are also called as what? Interstitial cells. Where are they present? Right outside the seminiferous tubules or in between the seminiferous tubules. These portions that are there, they are nothing but the interstitial cells or Leydig cells. So that is about the seminiferous tubule. So brushing up, we got to know that testicular lobules, which are nothing but 250 compartments, about 200 to 250 compartments. Inside each of these testicular lobule, there is present highly coiled structures called seminiferous tubules. In the seminiferous tubules, they have Sertoli cells and they have the spermatogonia, that is the male germ cells. In between these seminiferous tubules, the cells which are present are called as the Leydig cells or interstitial cells. And the main function of the Leydig cells is to secrete the male reproductive hormone called as the androgen. Now we'll talk, this was about the primary sex organ, testis, what is its structure, we got to know. Now we'll study about the accessory organs or the secondary or male sex organs. So the accessory ducts are nothing but the reed testis. All these are tube-like structures, okay. So that is why they are called as ducts. It is reed testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens and urethra. So we'll talk about these one by one. So talking about the first and also it contains accessory glands. So we had studied, right, bulbourethral gland and prostrate gland. So it contains a pair of seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles is also important and it contains prostrate gland and it contains bulbourethral gland. Apart from that, it also contains seminal plasma. So all this I've already explained. So already the accessory ducts, that is the vas deferens, vasa efferentia and all in the previous slide itself I've told you. So here there is the tube-like structure which is vas deferens, which connects the testis. That is, if you can see here, it connects the testis. Then there is the seminal vesicle. Then comes the prostrate gland which secretes certain hormones. Then comes the bulbourethral gland which also secretes certain hormones. All these are accessory ducts which help in the process of spermiation or the formation of, which helps in the process of spermatogenesis, that is the formation of the sperms. And it has the urethra. Urethra is a tube-like structure which carries the sperm to the penis so that the sperm can get ejaculated out of the penis. So that is its function. Next, there is one more topic, small topic, which is important. It is called as seminal plasma. Seminal plasmas are nothing but the secretions of the accessory glands. Which glands? The prostrate gland and the bulbourethral gland. Their secretions are called as seminal plasma and they are rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. And the secretion of the bulbourethral gland, it helps in lubrication of the penis. That is nothing but maintaining the moist condition of the penis. It is helped by the bulbourethral glands, their secretion. Whereas the secretion of the bulbourethral as well as the prostrate glands, which nothing but come under the accessory glands, is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes, and they are needed for the proper growth or proper functioning of the sperm or to keep the sperm active. So this was about the structure of the male reproductive part. So this is about the male reproductive structure, wherein we studied about the primary sex organ, the secondary sex organ, which is also called as the accessory organs, and also we studied about the external genitalia, that is the penis. So all those structure we studied. In this, the structure of the seminiferous tubule that is there is very, very important because they usually ask about that in the exam, especially that is the hormone secreted by the Leydig cells, or which is also called as the interstitial cells, that is androgens, right? So all that is very, very important. So this was about the session. So I hope you found the session useful. So we shall meet again in the coming session wherein we'll discuss about the female reproductive system, its structure and its function. So in the second session, we'll talk about the female reproductive system, and in the female reproductive system, we'll also talk about the mammary gland, which is responsible for lactation. So see you in the next session with these two topics. Thank you.